Hi guys, welcome to the video. My name is Ian. I'm an English teacher and IELTS tutor from the UK. And today I thought I would make a quick video and share with you 5 tips for the IELTS that I think are often overlooked. But I think they're very, very important and can really help you boost your score. So my first tip that I want to share with you guys is practice the whole exam as much as possible. What I mean by this is it's a good idea to practice the reading, the listening, the writing, and if possible, the speaking all together at the same time. Very often, students will take half an hour to practice the listening, 1 hour to practice the writing at separate times of the day or separate days of the week. And what this means is when you get to the exam, you have lots of practice doing the reading test. You have lots of practice doing the listening test, lots of practice doing the writing test. But very often, you haven't done the full 2.5 hours together that much or that many times. So what that means is usually when you're practicing, you do the listening, you check your scores, and you're like, fantastic. I got a score 7, 7.5, 8, whatever. You do the reading on a different day and you check your scores, you think, amazing. I got 7.5, 8 again. And the same with the writing. And then you go to the exam expecting to get 7.5 or 8 or whatever you think it is, or whatever your results during the practice showed. And you get a lower score. And one of the biggest reasons for this is that people haven't practiced the whole exam together. Because what happens is they do 30 minutes of listening, 40 minutes of listening, an hour of reading, an hour of writing. And then throughout this process, you are becoming tired. You're becoming more stressed. You're becoming more pissed off with the exam. You start to think about what you're going to do after the exam. You start to worry about mistakes that you made in the listening or the reading while you're doing the writing. You get flustered. You're not good at managing your time because you haven't done these 3 things together that often. So really, this is a huge piece of advice. Practice the whole exam as much as you can. And just to add, I would say that you should do this at least once a week for the 1 month or 2 months before your exam, just to train your brain to get used to taking this 2.5 hour test as much as possible. So my second piece of advice is related to this first one, and that is to practice the full exam at the time of your real exam. So as soon as you book your exam and you find out what time it will be, very often it's in the morning, you should clear a time in your schedule to practice your exam at that time. Because again, many students will practice at a different time to their exam. For example, they might practice on the weekend and in the evening after work when their family's gone to bed. Now that's great because it gives you calm and serenity and whatever to practice. But then your exam might be at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. So at that time, you function very differently to how you function in the evening. Now, maybe you function better, maybe worse, but the point is you need to understand how you will behave in the exam at the time you take the exam. So this is another huge reason why people get a lower score than they think they're going to, because they practice in the evening or in the morning, and then their exam is at a completely different time, and they're not in the right headspace, and they're stressed out about or worried about various other things, or tired, or whatever, and then their score goes down. So the first one is practice the full exam as much as possible. The second is practice that exam at the time of your exam. Now, my third piece of advice is related mainly to the writing. And that is to focus on structure and achieving the aim of your essay. All too often, people try to include incredibly elaborate vocabulary, idioms, expressions, grammatical structures that they end up using incorrectly. They end up spelling incorrectly. They end up being inappropriate, and they end up changing the tone and the direction of and the focus of the essay just because they think they need to show the examiner that they know these incredible, fantastic words. But actually, it's much better to focus on the structure of your essay and understanding how, for each different type of essay question, you can effectively get your point across in simple language, in a clear and concise way, and by making as few mistakes as possible. And the reason I say this is that very often people spend a long time focusing on vocabulary, and they want to learn new words to describe the environment or talk about crime and punishment or space exploration. And then they walk into the exam, they're given a question they've never seen before. They don't have any vocabulary or ideas that are based on that, that are related to that question. And then they sit there and think, well, shit, now I don't know how to formulate my answer. I don't know how to get from this question to my conclusion in a suitable manner. So you really need to focus on structure when it comes to your writing. So my fourth piece of advice is related to the speaking part of the test. And that is, don't try to force words, adjectives, idioms, expressions, whatever, into your answers. In the speaking test, you should focus on answering as naturally as possible. The examiner will be able to tell if you are throwing in words and expressions and idioms that you've been waiting to throw in, or you're not sure exactly how to use. And again, just like I said with my previous piece of advice, people prepare for certain questions. They get to the exam, they're asked a different question, and they think, I can't answer this question, because they don't have the vocabulary there. They haven't studied vocabulary for that topic. So therefore, it is much better to focus on speaking in a natural, simple, clear, concise way than trying to go there with a bag of idioms and throw them into every question. So don't try to squeeze in vocabulary and idioms that isn't appropriate or isn't necessary. If they come to you naturally, go ahead, and that's great. If they don't, forget them. Focus on being natural in the speaking test. My fifth and final piece of advice for today is understand the difference between general English and IELTS. Many people take IELTS preparation courses or get a teacher for their IELTS exam, thinking that their general level of English is going to improve massively. And that's not true. Most IELTS courses are designed to give you the techniques to complete the exam to the best of your current ability. Sure, if you take lessons with me or another teacher, yes, of course, your English will improve a little bit because you are listening, you're reading, you're writing, you are engaging with the language. But you're not really going to go from a B1 level student to a C1 level student just by studying for the IELTS. If you really want to improve your IELTS score and you have time, the best thing to do is to improve your general English by taking general English courses, but of course, keeping your IELTS in mind. So occasionally doing some writing or reading, listening tests, but you want to aim at building your general level of English. Now, of course, if you don't have time, if you've got to take your exam 1 month or 2 months from now, it may not be possible to improve your general level of English, and therefore taking an IELTS course would be the best option. However, you need to realize that the IELTS course and a good IELTS teacher can only really maximize your score to the extent that, can only really get you the score that you have inside you. You know, we cannot magically give you a formula to score an 8 when really you're a 6.5, right? We can draw out of you the best possible score you can get, but to get higher and to push it above whatever that level is, you need to improve your general English. So thanks for listening, guys. These were just 5 tips that I thought of that I think are really, really useful. I'm sorry for rambling on. But yeah, like I said, I'm an English teacher, IELTS tutor from the UK. And if you guys are interested in IELTS tuition, general English classes in a group or individually, essay corrections, get in touch in the comments, send me an email, check out my Instagram at write.ielts.write.com. What.com? No, write.ielts.write. I'll put it in the link below. And yeah, guys, good luck in the exam. Good luck improving your English. And I'll see you soon. Bye.